In this lesson, we will talk about rationalizing the denominator. Let's consider a fraction whose denominator is an irrational number. For example, 1 by root 2. It is very difficult to calculate the value of 1 by root 2 because we don't know the exact value of root 2 because root 2 is a non-terminating, non-repeating decimal and it's an irrational number. So when we are presented with these kind of expressions, what we do is we try to multiply the numerator and denominator with a number a such that the denominator when multiplied with that number a will result in a rational number, and that number a is called the rationalizing factor of the irrational number. So when we have one term like this, like a root 2, we know that root a times root a is equal to root a whole square, which is equal to a. A is a rational number. So in this case, in order to rationalize the denominator, we multiply the numerator and denominator with root 2. That makes it root 2 by root 2 whole square, which is nothing but root 2 by 2. So this is much better. We can simplify this by saying 0.5 times root 2. So this is how we rationalize the denominator when the denominator only has one single term. So now let's consider a case where the denominator is of the form 1 plus root 2. So how do we rationalize this? So if you observe, this is in the form of x plus y, and our goal is to take out the root of this irrational number. So if you take out the root of this irrational number, it turns out to be a rational number. So what can we do to convert root 2 into a 2? We know from the previous properties of square roots of real numbers that a plus root b times a minus root b is equal to a square minus b. This would take out the root of that number. So if I multiply the numerator and denominator by 1 minus root 2, I will have 1 minus root 2 by 1 square minus root 2 whole square, which is nothing but 1 minus root 2 by 1 minus 2, which is 1 minus root 2 by minus 1, which means root 2 minus 1. So in this way, we can simplify this expression by rationalizing the denominator. So the denominator could be of the form a plus root b, or it could be of the form a minus root b, or root a plus b, root a minus b, or root a plus root b, and finally root a minus root b. So these are the different combinations of the denominator which has two terms and one or both of its terms are irrational numbers. So the rationalizing factors for these expressions are a minus root b, because when you multiply these two together you will have a square minus b, and here in the case of a minus root b it would be a plus root b, which is nothing but again a square minus b, and over here it will be root a minus b, which is a minus b square. Root, in this case it will be root a plus b, which is again a minus b square. Over here it will be root a minus root b, which is a minus b, and similarly here it will be root a plus root b, which would be a minus b. What we are doing over here is we are just multiplying the denominators with the same terms, but we just change the sign. So if it is root a plus root b, we multiply it with the same terms, root a and root b, but we change the sign to minus. Same applies to all these 6 different cases. So whenever you are given a denominator with two terms and one or both the terms are irrational numbers, you apply these rationalizing factors to convert the denominator into a rational number. Now let us work on a problem. You have been asked to simplify this expression, and as you observe, the denominator has irrational numbers. So the first job is to rationalize the denominator. So let us rationalize it. You have already learned that when a denominator has two terms and one or both the terms are irrational numbers, so the rationalizing factor of that denominator would be the same terms with the sign changed. So multiply it by 3 root 3 minus root 2. Similarly 3 root 3 minus root 2. So over here you have 3 root 5 minus root 7 times 3 root 3 minus root 2, and on the denominator you would have a square minus b square, which is 3 root 3 whole square minus root 2 whole square. So if you recall the properties of square root of real numbers, this is in the form of root a plus root b times root c plus root d, which is equal to root ac plus root ad plus root bc plus root bd. So let's multiply these two terms. So you will have 9 root 15 minus 3 root 10, and then you have minus 3 root 21 plus root 14, and the denominator would be 9 times 3, which is 27, minus root 2 whole square is 2. So this turns out to be 9 root 15 minus 3 root 10 minus 3 root 21 plus root 14 by 25. So let's work on another problem. You have been given that root 5 plus root 3 by 2 root 5 minus 3 root 3 is equal to a minus b root 15, and you are asked to find a and b. So if you observe the left hand side, there is a denominator with two terms and both the terms are irrational numbers, and the right hand side we just have a simplified expression. So how do we get to this? We have to first rationalize the denominator in order to get to this simplified form. So let's try to do that. So we have a denominator which is in the form of root a minus root b, and we know that the rationalizing factor of this would be root a plus root b. So we multiply the numerator and denominator with 2 root 5 plus 3 root 3. Now let's simplify this. The numerator is in the form of root a plus root b times root c plus root d. From the properties of square roots of real numbers, we know that this is 2 root 5 times 5 plus 3 root 3 times 5 plus 2 root 3 times 5 plus 3 root 3 times 3. And the denominator is in the form of x minus y times x plus y, which is x square minus y square. So 2 root 5 whole square minus 3 root 3 whole square. So the numerator is square root of 5 times 5, which is 5 square. So square root of 5 square is 5. So it's 2 times 5 plus 3 root 15 plus 2 root 15 plus 3 times root of 3 times 3. 3 times 3 is 3 square. Square root of 3 square is 3. So it's 3 times 3 by, we know 2 root 5 whole square is 4 times 5, which is 20, minus 3 root 3 whole square is 9 times 3, which is 27. So this turns out to be, this is 10, this is 9, and this is 3 root 15 plus 2 root 15. So we have 19 plus 5 root 15 by minus 7. So this is nothing but minus 19 by 7 minus 5 by 7 root 15. So this is your A and this is your B. So your A is minus 19 by 7 and your B is 5 by 7. This brings us to the end of this lesson. In the next lesson, we will learn about the properties of exponents of real numbers.